My redhead, anything's over there, right there, honey. I charge them for you because that's what I do.
Mm,
I charge my daughter's
Charging.
thing because I'm a good kid.
Yep. Yeah,
All
you
right, let's
are.
see. Let's see. This program, though, sometimes it starts before we know it. Oh, it's starting already, Shamim. Okay, so
Okay.
Shamim. Okay, everyone. Hi. I am excited about this because today I take the back seat and Shamim drives the car because right now Shamim is going to interview me. So we decided to do something a little different because we want you to follow Shamim's Spotlight Show. I'll put the link in below after the show is over. So everyone will go over to Shamim's Spotlight Show. Shamim has his own show, but he's just getting started. So his first interview was just like the most popular guy there is, Scott. How do you say his last name?
Zachary.
Zachrin. So Shamim is really killing it. He's got some fantastic programming ahead. Shamim, even though it's so cool, I almost don't want to tell everyone until you've got it laid out because I'm reading the book you told me. All I could tell you guys is
Mm-hmm.
graphing. It's going to be the coolest show. Nobody's done it before, and I'm so excited that Shamim's going to do it. But today is all about me. So let me introduce you
Mm-hmm.
to the host.
Mm.
So, woo!
Woo!
Shamim, take
Uh,
it away.
all right. Hello, everyone. This is Shamim, host of the Shamim Spotlight Show, and today we have a very special guest, a longtime friend of mine, Miss Adrienne Barker of Score and Candid Interviews. And how me and Adrienne met was I was looking for a Frank and Ollie autograph for my Disney collection, and I was looking for it because I collect people behind the scenes of Disney, and I I went on her dad's site, and I actually on her on the eBay site for the gallery, and I found the poster that's on by Frank and Ollie, and I reached out to Adrienne to tell her the story about how I got the poster and I got the certificate, and I just yeah, I actually seen the trailer of Frank and Ollie, but never seen the actual film. Back on the Lady and the Tramp VHS tape back in '98,
Wow.
and I haven't seen the film yet, but I'm going to. And I just enjoy the one piece I really like out of Herbert Barker's collection is the Pe- Captain Hook and Peter Pan's fight scene with Mark Davis and Frank and Ollie on it. The Hook and Peter Pan ship scene where they're fighting. That's my favorite
Love it.
scene. And and then since then, me and Adrienne just I help her get guests. She helps me with the show. And how the show came about is we were interviewing C. Andrew Nelson about his work and how we yeah, so it's like I'm helping Adrienne with connections and she's helping me with the show. And that is pretty much the friendship started there. And now we're doing the reverse interview, which is Adrian's the interviewee, I'm the interviewer.
Yes.
I did this interview one time before with Vic Mignogna where he flipped the roles on me, and 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 I was Vic and he was me, and we were talking about Vic was asking me what's my favorite roles that he's done, and then yeah, so me and Vic Mignogna did been friends for 13 years now too as well. Met him at the same time I met Andrew. So there is the backstory about that. And okay, Adrienne, go ahead and introduce yourself now.
Shamim, I really appreciate it. I love hearing you talk. So I grew up, Shamim, in Connecticut
Mm.
in the promotional products industry. So I remember at a young age, my parents having a big junk drawer and going in it. And there were rulers and all pens and all kind of jar grips, all kinds of fun things. And I would go to the office after school and I would help my dad in the trophy area. And I went to my first convention with Ronald Reagan selling
Ooh.
buttons and t-shirts. My dad and mom were in the logo merchandise business. So anything similar to this that you can
Wow.
use to add your logo to it. So that is my first kind of like growing up memories. In the 80s, my parents started to really they loved going to flea markets and tag sales. And they would walk around and they would buy variety of toys and different things. And then at one point, you'll get a kick out of this. My parents were they had to have every McDonald's Happy Toy, which, by the way, McDonald's is going to be the Happy Meal. They're going to stop the Happy Meal toys because they're made of plastic and they're going with like the paper ones that kind of like pop up. My parents were collecting them, and so they weren't very easy to collect. By the way, McDonald's let's just say they were the 99, like 101 Dalmatians, right?
Yeah.
They would have 90 of them you could find, but the rest you're really hard to find. And what was happening is a lot of the friends of my parents, they were heading off. We're in Connecticut. They would go to Massachusetts. They would go to Maine. They would go to New Hampshire, the surrounding states, to find the ones that they didn't have. The key was you couldn't always go to the same McDonald's. You had to go to different McDonald's to get them. But my dad ended up, I want to say he had 2 of the full sets of 101 Dalmatians. And then McDonald's actually would send whoever got the full set a box that had like slots for all of those little pieces that you could put in there. So, and then my parents, next thing I know, sat us down and said, we're opening up a museum, a toy museum. And I'm like, toy museum?
Yeah.
I like toys. So that was so fun. So right now, they both passed away. My mom passed away in 2017, October 22nd. So actually this month of October. And my dad passed away in April of just 2019. But they left behind 80,000 toys that are inventoried. The oldest toy I want to say is like from the Yellow Kid, who was like an advertising piece.
Wow.
Disney has donated to the museum. They've donated some like a beautiful tree. I can't think of what that word's called when they have the like it's all. I can't think of the word. But anyways, and they've donated some other pieces too. My parents had some toys that Disney did not have, and so they were able to communicate what my parents needed for their museums and also what what they needed, Disney needed. So my dad always had a wonderful relationship with Walt Disney. And that was one of the things too, that my parents, they love the promotional products business, but I'm sure that after so many years, they wanted to do something else and they loved Disney. And my dad knew that at one point when Disney was going to start, I don't know if you remember, Disney had you'd walk into an airport and you could buy artwork at the airport and they would have all these stores. And then Disney's decided, well, we're going to actually stop that and we're not going to sell anymore. And so my dad was always fascinated with animation artwork and cells. And he had been collecting, the, what do you call them? The OPC. So the original cells.
Yeah.
Because the story goes that Walt Disney, when he was having the cells, they were actually cells that were, the acrylics, not the acrylic, like the plastic clear cells that were hand painted. And at one point, the artists were throwing them away. And then Disney's like, wait a second, we could rewash this. At some point, some of the Disney artists knew that what they were tossing was valuable and saved them and put them aside. And so those are really strong collector pieces. And then Disney had them start washing their cells out, with the acetate to get rid of it, to get rid of their ink so they can continue, because the cells actually make the cartoons. So a lot of these original cells were used in the making of a cartoon, which, by the way, my parents also loved. Like Budweiser had some amazing art that they were using, limited edition cells too, with like when they were doing like their Clydesdale, or Coca-Cola. Remember the polar bears? And what they would have some really fun commercials with the cells. And of course, M&M's candy was known for having amazing original production cells. So anyway, so with that said, my parents left a beautiful legacy behind of the Animation Art Gallery. We have two, one in Foxwoods in Connecticut and one in Cheshire, Connecticut. And they have a variety of different items where, you can pick up your Funkos and your fun items. So go visit over the holidays, support your local businesses, support them. It's important. And my parents left me with a lot of great memories. And I think you saw it. I would go over to my parents' house and my dad would he'd have a picker. Oh, you would have loved this picker. And the picker would actually have Bruce and Andrea were the pickers, and they would go and they would bring my father the toys that they found picking, and they would really share the stories behind this one. So I had a video the other day where they were talking about the Beatles, and they had the small little like bobbleheads. My dad loved that. I would go over and he would lay them on the table. He'd be so excited. You know what, Shamim? I have one regret. I didn't realize that one of the videos that I had sent to you and I was watching, my dad was like, he was so excited to have a show. And that would have been around 2014. I wish that I knew about apps like this or Zoom, or even thought, like when he said I want a show, we're thinking TV and like, big production, but we could have easily have done something like this with my father. He would have loved it. And he's so entertaining, and he could have showed all the different items. So I'm sad that that wasn't something that I really knew about back in 2014. Because if it is, I would have easily have put together something like this for my dad and publicized it and got it out there. But my dad loved talking. He loved sharing. His greatest joy, besides his children and grandchildren, was sitting in his office in Cheshire and looking down, and he could see all the kids coming to the museum. And it wasn't just a museum like you walk in the door and you're in an amazing museum, which it is like that, but the grounds were important to my dad too. The experience had to start the minute you got out of the car, and it had to continue until you got back in that car. So it wasn't, just, like, oh, you're going, he would have like little scavenger hunts, and he had a theater on the grounds that would play the old, I think they were the 35, they were like the big round ones with a tape in it, that would go around. And he had a little place where the kids would go into a little magical theater, and they could watch an old time, like Pepe Le Pew, old time movie. They would have areas where they could take photos of themselves with Lucy and Linus from the Peanuts, almost like, how Lucy was always behind, like kisses today, the hugging booth. So he would have that. He had murals where characters, he had to find the characters. He had prizes for everyone. And I didn't tell you this one, but one time my dad actually had bought like 1,000 hot dogs, and he had this big event, and it was so much fun. I was selling like Scooby-Doo for president shirts, which, by the way, Scooby-Doo would have made an amazing president. Scooby-Doo was running against, oh my God, who was the bendable? I can't believe it. Gumby and Scooby were like fighting for the presidency. I don't even know, like 15, 20 years ago, my dad had this whole funny thing. So either you are Scooby-Doo for president or Gumby for president. But anyways, and then that was so much fun. People were coming. I mean, how many places do you go? You can have as many hot dogs as you want and enjoy music and live people. And he had costumes. So my dad purchased and bought out a costume store. So Alan has been like many costumes, actually, but that's what the big thing of my dad. And he was so branding expert. My dad loved marketing. My dad, when we were at the Village at Gulfstream Park in Hollandale, my husband Alan would dress up as Frosty the Snowman, and he would have a sign on the front of him that would say, Barker Animation, and then the back would say, follow me to Barker Animation. And Alan would skip over to the store, so people would follow him into the store, and then he'd go back to the fun green. So my parents really, they understood the mixture of running a business, making it fun, making sure kids were happy of all ages, and really just taking pleasure in that. They would have Halloween costume party. They would have Comic-Con-ish, which was always cute. He would have like a little Comic-Con-ish in his area. My dad always wanted to do things to support the other stores too. Where we were, it wasn't just about Barker Animation. It was how can we put all the other stores and get them more business too. So I really had a lovely childhood growing up with a fun mom and dad. And I definitely can't complain because I enjoyed toys too. As a matter of fact, I do have to share this with you. Alana, at one point we were living with my dad, or we're just really close, not living with them. We did when we came back from China, but I lived in Aventura for 3 years, is right above Miami. So it was like 5 minutes from their house. So we were there often. They had Barbie dolls like crazy, all kinds, like 6 foot Barbie dolls, little Barbie dolls, so many Barbie dolls that Alana couldn't even focus to see them. I remember saying to her, "Do you see any Barbie dolls?" She's like, "No." But then when I pointed them out to her, they all came alive, kind of like, she's like, "Oh my God, there really are a lot of Barbie dolls." Yes. Look at that. Who's that? Which one is that one?
This is the Fashion Fever Barbie doll. This was back in, what was that year? 2006.
Oh,
This is who's this one? From the Fashion Fever line. I think it's hmm,
that's okay.
uh,
My favorites
yeah,
were like Lucille Ball. I love when Barbies came out with like they just,
yeah.
characters from the Gone with the Wind.
Oh
Those were
yeah.
my favorite. With the I
So
like those, but the ones that really were popular or were collectible ones were the ones that had Barbie in another costume
oh
coming
yeah,
out. Someone
so
else.
I have my aunt Gigi collects Barbies as well. Gigi, she has a lot of Barbie dolls. She gave me the Wizard of Oz collection.
Yes, yes, love that.
And she had like the Barbies camp camp van.
Yes.
She had like all different kinds of Barbies. Like she, yeah. There was this interesting show called Toys That Made Us on Netflix. Yeah, it talks about behind the scenes and
I've
how the
seen
toys are
that.
made. So let me guess, your favorite one was the Barbie episode, or was it a different episode of
There were
that?
so many. My dad actually was very fascinated with a show that was on, I think, the Discovery Channel, and it was about collectors and what people collect, and when their children didn't want the collection and what that looked like. I wish I could remember. I did email them to ask if they would come to interview my dad, because the whole premise of the show was people that had these amazing collections and they didn't know what to do with them if they were going to
Yeah,
pass away. That was always a concern for my dad, what
yeah.
would happen to his toy museum. So if you're in
Well,
Connecticut, everyone, go visit the toy museum in Cheshire, 1188 Highland Avenue. It's 80,000 toys. It's really beautiful. Up and down. My favorites actually are the lunch boxes. And I don't know if you know this, but back in the day, lunch boxes were banned because they were called headbangers, because they were made of the tin, and the kids would hit each other over the head and you could crack a skull with them. And then they
wow.
ended up going to the vinyl. The problem with the vinyl ones, the reason why vinyls are so collectible, is that they were peeling. So if you had a vinyl one, unless you really kept it very clean and dry and didn't wet it probably wasn't going to last, which of course, as we know in collection, something like that would
Yeah.
be highly collectible. And then from there, they made like the thermos ones. But my parents, upstairs in the museum, they're all lined up, and it's kind of fun because everyone will go up like, "That's the one I remember. I had that one. I had that one." But finding the lunchbox and the thermos in mint condition is not easy. So if you're at a
No.
flea market and you find that, and you find one with both are really clean, and purchase it, because you know what, it's going to have value to it.
Yeah. So here is something which I found recently,
Uh,
which is a sketch by Charles Schultz, which
I
is
love that.
original too,
Yeah,
and
I bet.
signed by Schultz.
I love that.
And basically just found this and I just put in my collection because Snoopy is one of my favorites. Growing up for Peanuts.
So I'll give you a little funny
Yeah,
information. So Mr. Schultz didn't allow anyone to just do his Snoopy. That
yeah,
one of the artists that he allowed was Bill Melendez. Oh,
yeah.
and meeting Bill Melendez was amazing. First of all, very
Wow,
handsome man, but he was like, I don't know, he looked like 6'10" to me when I was a little younger. Look up at him, he's so
wow.
tall. But so a lot of the work. So when people look at like Peanut work at the Barker Animation, they'll see Bill Melendez. and I think he had one other artist that he allowed to do his art, but he was very particular. So my dad was very
Yeah.
close friends with Myron Waldman, and Myron Waldman is the man that helped to create Popeye, Betty
Ooh.
Boop, and Casper the Friendly Ghost. Casper the Friendly Ghost, not the like scary Casper that's out there. And he has a
Yeah.
great story. Stephen Waldman was great, and his son Stephen Waldman is so lovely. As a matter of fact, my parents were so close; they took trips together, and it was. I'm so happy
Wow.
that my parents had the opportunity. But the wife, Myron's wife, Rosalie, beautiful woman. She's like a well-known chef, a baker. She was amazing, and she had called my mom one time, and she said, my son is in surgery. Will you go visit? My mom's so cute. Does he like chocolate chip or peanut butter? And my mom just bought both. So when Steve woke up from surgery, he was staring up at my mom, who's a beautiful redhead, who's got like 2 plates of cookies. Do you want peanut butter? Or do you want chocolate chip? But so the stories are great. And Myron,
Wow.
my dad thought he was Popeye. He was born the same year,
Hmm.
1928, born the same month in January. He felt his wife was always olive oil. My dad knew everything about Popeye. So my parents, when they would go places, and especially when they were at Disney, but no matter where they were, if there was a line of kids, my dad would turn around and he would go, how many nephews did Popeye have? How many eyelashes does Minnie have? And
Mhm.
he would like do trivia with the kids. They love that. They absolutely love that. Who's your favorite? What is it called? Oh my God, the seven dwarfs. Who's your favorite dwarf? Or he'll have little questions about the dwarfs.
Wow.
So my
Hmm.
dad knew, even when he was, even before he passed, he still remembered people, places, things, who collected what. He made friends with all of his clients, the customers that would come into the gallery. He would rush down to see them, to thank them personally. They really knew how to do business. They were exceptional in how they ran the gallery and their museum, because their heart and passion was so full that I don't think they would have known any other way but to be themselves, and the genuine love of people.
So, who was the first celebrity guest to go into the gallery?
Oh my God. There was, I do remember Iwo Takamoto was very cool. He did Scooby
Wow.
Doo.
Wow.
Iwo did Scooby Doo, and then they also had they had a baseball player. I can't think of his name. I remember the
Wha-
baseball player came in, and the
Team.
cute guy. No, he was. I can't think of it. And there's so many baseball players, but anyways, they were a team that my parents loved, and he came in, and I was standing. We were in the kitchen, and I was standing like when my mom was sitting, and I was standing above her, and my mom lets out this big fart, like she rips out this fart. And then she looks up and she blames it on me, Adrienne. And I was like, oh my God, my mom is like, that's hilarious that she just did this. The guy looks over at me. I'm like, this famous baseball player thinks I just, what am I going to do? Call out my mom? No, mom, it was you. I had to take it. I had to take it like the daughter I was. I just said, okay, I did
So,
that fart.
so, so was the I what was he a major leaguer or
Yeah,
upcoming?
he was a major leaguer. Benny
Um.
Akawana, or Benny Octavana, something like that. Benny.
Ooh.
My son
Ooh.
Alex will know. He'll put in the link, but it was Benny Akavana. But whatever it was, my parents, yes, they met a lot of artists at the time. My parents were one of the first to actually come up with the idea of layaway. Like, but because people wanted artwork, and they would meet the artists. And my dad just didn't lay away artwork. He would lay away, you're going to the store to not only meet the artist, but you want it signed, right? Autographed.
Yeah.
And you want a low number, because my dad liked 22, 2, 7. So the certain numbers that were their favorite. So my dad said, you know what, if that's, you want this piece of artwork by Myron, and it's original limited. So you want number 2 in the series. And then he offered the ability to lay away, because that's how badly he wanted people to really enjoy the artwork and have it.
Here,
Benny Akavana. I like that.
here's one example. That's.
Oh yeah.
So this is my favorite Power Ranger, Jason David Frank, which he played Tommy Oliver in the Power Rangers, the old kids TV show,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's one of them. This is a preprint sketch by
I love that.
And these are what you do. You send to Seth, but he like au-
Yep, that's
auto.
exactly it.
Yeah. So, but these are like auto penned and like sent out from the studio, not signed. It's like not signed by Seth, but it's like auto machined. And then there's like pretty much oh, here's this scene that I have.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So you're exactly right. That's exactly what my dad would have done. He would have made sure, but he would get the lower numbers because that was always important
Yeah.
to him, and he wanted people to have the low numbers. So my dad he
And
really was about getting art into people's hands. Yep,
here's
I
a
love
band
that.
that you remember.
Yeah.
That I found for $5, and then I have uh here is my friend Ryan's little autograph collection I have.
I love it, Shamim. Yeah, you have your own
This
little collectible.
this is Ryan's band what he was talking about, Ryan
Nice.
Ramsey,
Yep.
and then I have like I have like mm, and
Nice.
Antonio Banderas from Zorro, my
Yes.
favorite show movie, and I have like I have like
You'll have your own museum one day, Shamim.
I'm yeah I've got like here's a question and answer I did with Jeff Foxworthy.
Oh,
No,
I
no, no,
love it.
no. Yeah, Jeff Foxworthy on the right. Um, asked him questions for a college assignment, and here's his answers. Here is Sandy from Blockbusters
Ah,
doing an interview, and here's her same questions I asked Jeff Foxworthy.
I
So
love it. I
yeah,
love it.
so what I do, what my friend does, and then I have like
Oh, Shamim, I'm a Buzz
Thanks and
Lightyear
Alan
fan. I love Buzz
and
Woody.
this dude Don Rickles,
Oh,
and then I have my friend Rainn Wilson from The Office,
oh my God! I thought that was him. That's so funny.
and
You have your
here,
own. Oh,
yeah. So here
so let me
is
explain to everyone, Shamim,
yeah,
that Shamim has been collecting. Shamim is a young guy. Shamim, you're 28.
yeah, 28,
He's
and
28 years old.
here's Depp,
Love it. And
yeah,
Shamim has gone as he has the confidence to ask, may I have your autograph? And then to understand his series of shows are going to be amazing. And Shamim had me, I've interviewed C. Andrew
Andrew
Nelson, who
Nelson,
played Darth Vader 11 times for Star Wars. But Shamim has a lot of cool friends. They all love him. And I'm
and
so excited for Shamim.
that one is my first celebrity in the back, which is the Munchkin from Wizard of Oz, Mickey Carroll, which was the last one of the surviving members of the original Wizard of Oz. Me and Gigi and my mom and my uh, cousins Melissa Michelle went to a signing at a sports gallery show, a sports card shop in in Grapevine Mills, Texas. He was signing there. It was charging only like $25. I met the artist also who did that art. He signed it as well, and Mickey Kiro twice. And and then after that, I've so what actually got me into collecting is Babe Ruth, which is we all know like let's say out of everyone your dad met, who was your dad's favorite that he
Ooh.
liked meeting?
Ooh, he made them all friends like you, Shamim. He would have loved meeting you.
Yeah,
Shamim,
sure,
so I don't want to give it away, but I want to just do a little bit
sure.
of a plug. This is so cool because Shamim's talking about autographs, the reality of the real autographs, and
The
He's going to be doing some fun with it. So pay attention to. You
so
call
yeah,
yourself a grapher?
yeah. So the group, three groups that all collectors should join our ACC Real Autograph Collectors Club. Second is the Star Wars Autograph Universe. For Star Wars autographs, Autograph Universe by Star Wars Autograph Universe, which is about um, all different kinds of autographs in the entertainment. And there's like so here here's some questions for you about your data if you can answer them. Okay. Ooh, let me get my book out. These are the questions I asked Scott, the wrong binder, this binder. Okay, so these are so every yeah. So this idea came from my friend uh Zane Savage, which is a Chicago grapher who does TTMs through the mail and other. So what is interesting is I ask celebrities and people that are in the entertainment world questions about themselves and whatnot. And here's some questions I would have asked your dad when I had the chance.
Okay.
But
I'll answer as best as I can.
okay,
I spent many nights with my dad. Many, many.
okay, there are 7 questions. First question: how many autographs did your dad get a day? No, for like asking and uh, not many.
Oh no, I can't even tell you because he would have really had a lot of autographs from the artist. And I don't know if
No,
my
no, no. I mean from himself to fans.
Oh, so my dad
So
signed artwork to certify the artwork that he was selling, but most people didn't ask my dad for an
no.
autograph.
So okay. So these yeah. So these are from James Spence from JSA, James Spence Authentication. So Jim said he gets on average a few each month. Second one. When was your dad's first autograph request? Like someone asked him for an autograph and they're like he never signed for fans, or did he?
No, because my dad was really a businessman, so he was a
Yeah,
business owner, and most people wanted photos with him just because my dad was always fun. He was a character of his own, but I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he had some people, but I was never
yeah,
there when someone said,
yes.
"Herbie, can I
So
have your autograph?"
yes. So for James, he said sometime in the 1990s.
Oh,
And then and then 5 for your dad. If he could meet anyone, who would it be and why?
oh wow! I wonder who my dad would have really wanted to meet. I mean, at
What?
the end of his life, he loved Donald Trump, so he probably would have said, Donald Trump, and he loved that woman that was doing that show. She was quite lovely. I think my dad. I don't know. I think at the beginning,
What?
I think all of us have different stages in our life where
Yes.
we would
In
love to meet someone.
Yeah. So in the beginning, like Walt Disney.
Oh yeah, you're right. He would love Mr. Disney or even Ray Disney. So he probably
Ray.
would have loved that. My dad also.
Uh.
I want to be clear though. My dad loved Hanna Barbera. He
Yeah.
loved Warner
Still.
Brothers. He loved Melanie Taylor Kent, the artist behind me. He absolutely loved Melanie Taylor Kent. My dad loved all the artists. I don't think if I said who do you love more, he'd probably look
Yeah.
at me like I'm a nuts.
For James Spence, he said Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bob Dylan.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, and last two, what is your dad's happiest moment in his life?
I think my dad, no matter what anyone says, really loved his grandchildren.
Mm,
I had the first grandchild, Alex, and my parents really, that's when they were younger. They took Alex to
yeah,
every At Disney every year. My dad would ride. My dad would ride the roller coaster with Alex, go in the corner, throw up, and then get back on the roller coaster.
Wow.
He would get in the water. He would take them to any theme park, any place fun, baseball games. I think that the biggest pleasure, honestly, even though he had 4 kids of his own, I think he absolutely, because it was a time of his life that he was still young enough. So I would have been. So I had Alex at 21 and Alex is
Wow.
38. So wait, so 90. So my parents would have been around that like 70 mark. So they're old enough that their business can be run by their, business people, secretary and all of that could run the business. They could go away with their little grandchild and just have so much fun. And I think that would have been really one of the best times. My dad also enjoyed just a delicious prime rib with a baked potato or toasted rye bread.
Yeah,
Like
so
those things he loved.
yeah, so what James said was witnessing the birth of his 3 sons.
Yeah, see? Aw.
And and the 7th is what is your favorite part of his job and your job as well?
My dad's favorite part of his job was absolutely looking out the window so he could see who was there. And then they would, oh my God, look at that family right there. I gotta go. And my dad would he positioned everything so perfectly. So his office was overlooking the grounds of the museum, and he could just run down 2 flights of stairs and be right there to say hello. And
Wow.
it didn't matter how much work he loved, loved, loved. It wasn't about the interviews and meeting the governor. It was about meeting the child with their parent that was coming in. Or if he saw 2 adults walking in the museum, he'd want to run down because he knew that they were going to relive their childhood. When he wanted to know the stories, he wanted to hear what their stories were. What was their favorite toy? What was their life like? My dad could have wrote, I do. We have Caesar that was going to write the book, but I really wish that we had a little bit more time with my dad because I would ask my dad questions. My parents also, they loved the fact they handed out, they were in the promotional products business. My mom loved these little mirrors that she would have that they would hand out. My dad did pens, these beautiful Schaefer pens, and it would say, nurses are special people, doctors are special people, flight attendants are special people, pilots are special people. And wherever he would go, he would hand out these pens, and that gave him a lot of joy. Who's there? Who am I going to meet? Who's there?
Oh, mom, come, mom.
Oh, I want to meet your mom. Hi.
Yeah, mom said hi.
Mom can't come. Okay, and I'm excited to have your dad. Your dad's going to do a score workshop for us. Very excited about that.
Yeah, so the last for James Spence is finding a new special piece for my collection. So James Spence is the founder, CEO of James Spence Authentication. James Spence is the 3rd biggest authentication company. The first 2 are PSA, Professional Sports Authenticator, and Beckett from Beckett Magazine. Yeah, and then what I love about your dad reminds me of another businessman. His name was Charles P. Lazarus. Was the CEO and founder of Toys R Us.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so Charles Lazarus created Toys R Us, the big toy store, back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and then so 3 big companies I enjoy learning about are I saw the founder with about McDonald's, Ray Kroc, as Michael. McDonald's is an interesting company to learn about. And there's like the other company is Toys R Us, KB Toys, Chuck E. Cheese. Actually, Chuck E. Cheese is founded by Nolan Bushnell, the founder of Atari.
Oh my God, I love that you know all of this. My dad would have loved you, Shamim.
Yeah, so the thing is, I've always wanted to reach out to your dad for an autograph, but I don't know if it would ever get to him. That's the thing, because I know he would have secretaries. I know he would have had. The thing is, what I would love him would have signed was something that was personal to him, that a part of the his company, Boca Animation Gallery, because I'm all about the people behind the scenes of the companies or ideas. Yeah, so I would have had him sign either like something that no other person would have, but
Oh, Shamim, how did you find me? I've always wanted, I wasn't sure, but that was pretty smart of you. Do you remember how you actually found me?
well,
Because you sent me the message.
I was first I was reading on your dad on I was just looking for someone that was was a part of the Baker family, and I just wanted to reach out to whoever would be open enough to talk about your dad
Oh,
and your mom. And I
did you write
just
to anyone else? Did you write
um
to
I think I wrote to, I forgot, Jared,
Jerry? Yeah, yeah, it makes sense, Shamim, that
before.
I would respond. I've got the
Yeah,
heart.
yeah, because yeah, the original idea was to become your friend and stay your friend, and then help you with your show. You help me with my show, and maybe along the line, one day I will get that autograph from Herb. I
I don't, can we
I
just
don't know.
stop for 1 second? Stop
Sure.
for 1 second. This is what makes Shamim so special. Shamim doesn't just talk about doing something, he actually does it and he gets it done. And I love that Shamim, I do have the reputation of replying to everyone. I don't care if you want to sell to me. I'm okay. I will. Well, if I'll say no, I'm not interested. Right. I mean, but everyone knows if you send me a message, I'm going to reply back. And if I don't reply back, it's because I didn't see it. So then they'll resend me the message because they know I have that. That's just who I am. So you're smart that you went to me because of course, I saw it right away. I had a feeling you may have sent it to someone else, but I wasn't sure. But Shamim, you've taught me so much. We've had this like nice relationship. I'm so excited that you're going to have Shamim Spotlight Show.
Mhm.
I'm going to ask everyone, please. I'm going to have the link. Join it. Shamim works very hard. This is an exciting time for him. He does have this like 3 or 4 part series. Let me tell you, this is everyone that's watching now. You're going to want to watch this. It's going to be so excited. So I'm really excited, Shamim, for you to lay it out. Shamim has got there's a lot of work to learn how to do the live, but he just uploaded his first. I know you've uploaded YouTube videos before, but you start getting into podcasting and doing these shows, and you learn
Yes.
how to market. So it's great that you're doing all of this, and eventually, Shamim, you're going to have your own museum or your own collectible place
Yeah,
where
right
you can
there.
share. I love it, and you'll have. Now, I want to share one thing with you, Shamim. That's kind of
Hmm.
serious. My dad started the museum. He always wanted it to be free. It was very important to my dad. The thought of charging was something that he wouldn't consider. The only reason why he had to consider it was when times got a little tougher and around that 2006, 7, 8 mark. And,
Yeah.
my dad always paid for the curator. So you got the cost of a curator of the museum. You got to
Wow.
inventory all the museum. You've got to keep it all clean. You've got to, all that work involved. And my dad really wasn't making any money. Now, there's no funneling. When you go to a museum and you're funneled out the gift store where they kind of entice you, our museum's not like that. They're 2 separate buildings. So when you leave the museum, you're welcome to go in your car. We're not driving you to the gallery. I think we should because, we still don't, all summer we didn't charge for kids. But my point is, at one point, my dad had to kind of charge. He just didn't have a real choice in the matter. And I believe that he should have because there was value to it. He'll never charge for a veteran. Anyone that's been in the service obviously is free, and that's important to him. The price is only $5, so it's not like my dad like charges an exorbitant amount. And I think whatever the ages are for the kids, this summer we participated in the free museum with children. We didn't take any grant money for that. That's all money that that we absorbed. And that's what my dad wanted. He wanted the museum. It's a gift to the state of Connecticut. It's one of the top places to visit. People come from all over. It's a gift to the city of Cheshire to have the museum there so that people can come and visit, and putting Cheshire on the map. My dad worked hard for the highway signs, and when you get off the exit sign, that there's directions to the museum. My dad worked hard to make sure that he nobody was a marketer like my dad. We could talk about my dad and the museum and the promotional products business, but the truth is nobody, not any of the kids, nobody has my dad's ability to market. And just to let you know, my dad also had some great advice that I will share for all of us watching. One of the things my dad did is he said, if you didn't have this in your hands, he was disappointed. When you went up to see my father, you better have a pad and paper, because he's going to tell you things and you need to write them down. My dad also believed if you said, oh, I'm going to call tomorrow, he'd say, no, you call now. Anything that you could put off later, you do exactly at the time you need to do it. Otherwise, it probably won't get done. And he expected you to do that in a lovely way, but he really did expect. He would create flyers. He would draw them. He wasn't an artist. He'd have to give it to an artist, but sometimes he would look at a flyer. He would make 50 changes. It would drive us all crazy. Like, are you kidding me, Dad? But my dad knew it had to be exactly how he wanted to word it. He liked a lot of words. So some of the original marketing pieces, you'll be like, wow, that's a lot of words. But to my dad, the words told the story, and he wanted that story to be told. And so so those are some of the things my dad, and he also always said, give, so many, after my dad passed away, I wanted to actually, for my dad's 90th birthday, I wanted to honor him. So I had some people, speak at his birthday party and to share the story. And one of the stories is that Dimitri, lovely, lovely man, Dimitri was having he was not a lot of money. Money was very tough for Dimitri at that time, and his sister's birthday. And he was looking at, a cheesecake, and does he get one cheesecake for his sister? And he wasn't sure. And he was kind of talking to himself and talking to the woman behind the counter. And my parents heard, and they bought whatever he needed for that time. And they stayed friends. And at one point, Dimitri started working for like the casinos and the hotels. And Dimitri's a beautiful man. And just stories of how people met were always my parents maybe overhearing something and wanting to do, and that my parents just gave not just money, but they gave of their heart. My dad, after 9/11, he was like, oh my God, all the like homes and all their artwork is destroyed. And he wanted to make sure, and he wanted to honor the 9/11, all the first responders. So he had a piece of artwork that he loved from Melanie Taylor Kent called the Statue of Liberty. And it was the 1986 rededication of the Statue of Liberty by Lee Iacocca. And that piece he took the money, his own money, he framed every single piece of the thing, and then he put a plate on, and he got it into as many fire stations and first responder areas that he could in New York and in Connecticut, because at 9/11 we were in Connecticut. And then in South Florida, most of the hospitals in Connecticut will have artwork. My dad always felt, a lot of Myron Waldman Popeye artwork, by the way, but my dad always felt that, in hospitals, you're in a hospital room, you want to look at something beautiful. So he thought, well, pregnant women would want a piece. He also worked with some hospitals in Connecticut to create art from the heart. And they would have an art cart, and that art cart would go around, and you would pick that artwork that you were going to use for that stay, so you could have your room kind of express your own personality through that artwork. And then in South Florida, my dad had a brilliant idea to take all the nonprofits of a chamber and give them artwork. And he didn't give them with ties. It wasn't like, this artwork you have to, here's 3 pieces of artwork for you. Keep them for yourself, donate them, use them in a silent auction, whatever you want to do. But we want to thank you. And he would create year after year these art from the heart. And just Google art from the heart, Gloria and Herb Barker. My mom's name always had to come first, Gloria and Herb Barker. And you will read what he did. And that's such a beautiful thing. And in South Florida, the Children's Hospital has a lot of artwork. And the last thing he did after my mom passed away is he did beautiful artwork for Broward Hospital. He laid out, and when my dad does the artwork too, he lays it all out, his staff does it so that you could see exactly what it's going to look like. It's all of my parents' favorite pieces, and it's on 2 floors of Broward Hospital. And so, my mom, when she was alive, she had Glow's room in 2 schools, and they were a room for girls when girls would, need time to like unwind. And if they were having troubles or dealing with, issues with other girls, they could go into Glow's room and they could relax. And there was all fun artwork on the wall. My mom had the carpeting and dolls all over the place. My parents would buy a lot of dolls and give them away. We're Jewish, so Hanukkah, the local synagogues would be able to hand out dolls to all the kids. And of course, my dad and mom loved NASCAR, so they would have the toys, the wheel, what are they called? Those little Hot Wheels for the kids, for the boys. And so I just want to say, I honor my parents every day, Shamim. They really were wonderful and caring. And the minute you wrote to me, I knew there wasn't a thought like, do I write back? It was, of course I'm going to write back. I didn't realize that our relationship would go this far, that I would be helping you with a show, that your dad would be helping me with a fantastic score workshop that he's going to be doing. But I think that's part of life, that I take the opportunities. So when people reach out to me, you respond. And I just think everyone should do that. You respond, because you don't know who's the person that's reaching out. So I'm so grateful you reached out to me, Shamim. Yeah. Grateful we're doing this. It's going a little long now, so we'll have you do your sign off, which I'm excited. But you guys, everyone should know Shamim. He got the heart of gold. He's very talented. He's performed with the Beach Boys. He's performed with that cute guy from Fuller House, but also on 911 Texas.
John Stamos.
John Stamos. Even Alan goes, John Stamos. But anyways, all right, take it away, Shamim. I love it, Shamim.
All that just come to 3 basic chords, which is basically, move this over, D, A, just like that.
Name Shamim.
Yes.
So Shamim, what's your next show going to be?
My next show is going to be. I would need to reach out to Jeffrey Rederick from Final Destination, and I would love for you to co-host that episode.
I watch every Final Destination. I sweat when I think of it.
So for the Final Destination, yeah, Jeffrey's a really nice guy. How I so all these Andy Grammer, Red Grammer, Rainn Wilson, Jeffrey Reddick, the guy from You, all five of them are members of the Baha'i faith. Do you remember? I don't know if you heard of the Baha'i faith. It's the world. It's like a world religion. The it's like Judaism. It takes the messages from Judaism, Christianity, Buddha, Zoroaster. Uh, so the Baha'i faith is Baha'i.org. It's just basically it's like a community based religion. It's like they have like children's classes, they have volunteer work, they have all different kinds of. So how I met Rain was at a Baha'i conference. Andy Grammer, Justin Baldoni, these actors, celebrities, and musicians come to this. It's always held at the Grand Canyon Baha'i Conference Center. Every December, all the Baha'is around the world come together, and so the beliefs of Baha'i faith are oneness, one religion, one God. uh, Men and women are created equal, and the universal peace and universal brotherhood. It's like all about unity. And so I've been a Baha'i for about my whole life, and it's basically the teachings are teaching peace. Is one of Red Grammar's songs. Red was a
Shameen,
children.
wait, hold on, Shameen. I want you to do this at another show because we're
Oh,
going
okay.
into an hour and I
Oh,
have to go. But
okay.
that's okay. No. But I think that this when you're going to do that, I think that could be a really great show, and I think you
Yeah.
have some great ideas. Um, oh,
Okay.
I took my thing off. My ears were hurting. Let's end it today, and because I know
Okay.
we've got a long lifetime of Shamim Spotlight shows. So
Yeah.
thank you
So
so much
okay.
for having me
Okay.
on.
Okay. All
And
right. Thank you, Adrienne, for coming on and being my friend for this whole since August 16th of this year. And I know that I know this is a friendship for a long time, because once I meet this person, I genuinely believe that the friend that I make is genuinely a friend for lifetime. But sometimes some friendships are not that way. But I choose the people that I know that I want in my life. Phone calls, I know, off the wall. Yeah, so let's talk um about arranging Jeffrey. He said like November, mid November
wow.
for our interview with Jeffrey. So yeah, okay, Adrienne. Again, thank you again, everyone, for tuning in to Shamim's Spotlight Show, meeting the stars behind the friendship. And this concludes episode 2. Episode 3 will be Jeffrey Reddick. All right, thank you. That's a wrap. Woo!
Awesome. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.